Boom. Hey, welcome to Monday School.
Hey, happy Fun Day Monday.
Fun Day Monday. Here we go, man. Hey, so we got a good lesson. Starting a new series.
New series starting Atypical today. What does atypical mean?
Not normal.
Not normal.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Hey, last week we almost missed our sponsors.
We gotta make some money.
So we gotta make some money.
Yeah.
First off, who you got? You got
Round Lake always.
I've got Orville High School today. So that's
go
my first
Riders, man.
All right, what other sponsors you got?
Okay, I'll go with first of all, my first sponsor is none other than We Play. Shout out to Andrew Pape.
There you go.
Thank you, man. We've been playing this a lot.
Awesome.
It's been fun.
Which game is your favorite on there?
Tanks. Yeah, because Drew loves it, and then I'm starting to get good at it, so I'm not a liability on the team.
I remember playing tanks with him last year. He kept shooting me.
Oh yeah,
Where did
it's not a main sponsor.
Okay.
Because I got some.
All right, I've got some Pez and Reds. Yeah,
and it's signed. I see it. What?
It was just sent through the mail. So
who gave you that?
That was one of my friends in high school sent it to me. So I've had it ever since then. So that's a friend.
Pez and Cincinnati. Hey, speaking of the Reds, hey, this is brought to you by Wheaties and 19. Be careful, that's like a collector's item. But the 1990, they were wire to wire first place. So and world champs.
Yeah.
And how old were you in 1990?
-5.
-5. Thank you.
Hey, what are the odds you eat it?
Never.
Never.
No, you don't eat. Somebody. This was a gift too. Someone gave me.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. My next sponsor is CIY Believe.
Yeah.
Man, they've been on my heart a lot recently. We got some friends that work for CIY.
Yeah.
But man, this was the wristband that we got at CIY Believe. It has tacos on it, which is a way to pray. It talks about Thanksgiving, adoration, confession, others, and self. So man, as we're talking about prayer, talking about CIY, that's a great sponsor.
Hey, that is a good sponsor. Okay, number next. Oh look, it's Kaylee's card making company. She made that. But it's actually, I want to draw attention to the Wagoneer on it. Okay. So our sponsor officially is Jeep Wagoneer, but she made a card.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Man, I've got
what else you got?
I've got one more sponsor.
Okay, me too. Very important.
This is Rip Disc.
What's a Rip Disc?
It's like an indoor ultimate frisbee. But
dude.
It's pocket edition. This is a lot.
So like you catch that?
Yeah, you throw it and catch it.
There's no way.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
But we're going to play that when we all get together and we're allowed to not social distance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, number last, it kind of goes along with being Memorial Day today. I've got a B-24 Liberator, and that is the plane that's in that movie Unbroken.
Okay.
So little shout out to the vets and, of course, people who have lost their life, but also that is an amazing movie. And so there you go.
Yeah, and thank you, veterans, for your service.
Yeah, and remember, absolutely. So those are our sponsors. The Reds, Wagoneer, tacos. I love that. That's so catchy. That's very good. And Pez. Do you like Pez?
I do like Pez. Keeping that in the package, though. That's going to be like this in about 80 years.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So you said you asked me to define typical or atypical, right? And so we're going to talk about families the next 2 weeks. So we're going to start a new series. It's called Atypical, and just want to ask you, hey, what's a normal family look like? So, hey, if you're watching along, go ahead and tell me, hey, what do you think a normal family looks like? What do you think a normal family looks like, Corey?
My definition of a normal family growing up was Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. That's
that
true.
Or throwing it back also with Andy Griffith's show.
Yeah.
Man, that was one of my favorites. So those
where everybody kind of gets along.
Yeah, those were kind of my two definitions of what a normal family looked like.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm glad you mentioned those TV families. Most of the time, normal families aren't on TV because it doesn't make good entertainment.
That's true.
Your family got to be jacked up to be on TV. And that's what cue all of reality television, right?
Yep.
Pretty much. So, but here's the deal. if you have a not so normal family, a lot of times you wish your family maybe looked like other families.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if your family is pretty normal, chances are there's some quirkiness to it, but you kind of love them. And then there's another kind of a family that's, your family's too normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's perfect, except maybe you wish it was a little bit less boring, And then there's a family that kind of looks normal on the outside, but on the inside it's, and I feel like, I've been a part of those families. Yeah. But here's the deal. No matter what kind of family you come from, we all probably think our family is either a little bit normal or maybe a little bit atypical, like not normal. And no matter what kind of family you come from, or you might think, man, I don't really have a good family at all. The bottom line is God knows you, He loves you, and He loves your family. And we do too. That's what we do. We love kids, we love families. And so truly nobody has a normal family. But that's okay. That's okay. So I've always shared about my family pretty openly. What about you? Would you say normal family or atypical?
I'd say it's one of those families that looks normal on the outside.
Yeah.
Growing up, preacher's son, we're in the spotlight a lot in our
first page
small
of the
town.
directory, and you're all smiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hometown I grew up in is half the size of Orville.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone knew you. So we looked normal on the outside, but once you got to know us, man, we're all pretty weird. Our sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's fun though. I love my family and the way that I grew up.
Sure.
But,
makes you who you are.
Absolutely. But man, when it comes to our families, who says really what typical is? The harsh reality is that a lot of times we let others define our own views of our families. But let me let you in on a little secret. No family, no matter what kind of family you come from, is typical. There's no such thing. Your family is atypical, which you defined as not normal. But what if God is calling your family to be even more atypical than it already is? Every family has imperfections, problems, and struggles. Has your family ever had an imperfection, problem, or struggle?
We've had our share.
Yeah,
we've had our share.
I know my family has as well. I'm sure those of watching your families have gone through the same thing. But typical families, what they do in those settings is they try to either handle them on their own, they just scream it out, or they never handle it at all. But atypical families, on the other hand, they invite God into the situation, into the family, and allows God to use their imperfections and struggles. There's no family that's too simple or too complex for God to use. Your family can be used by God to do atypical things in the world.
That's right. I love it. And so what we're trying to tell people in atypical is not to have a weird family, but to have a family that's atypical in the fact that they're used by God. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple families in the scripture these 2 weeks, and we're going to pull out a concept that we want to kind of focus on and challenge you as students to focus on and maybe add to your family. So I'm going to read in Genesis. We're going to be in Genesis today. So if you've got a Bible, go ahead and flip through there. Genesis 13.
It's the first book.
First book. Should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Genesis 13. We're going to talk about a family in the Bible, Abraham. And a lot of times when we talk about Abraham, we talk about Abraham and Isaac, and he's a patriarch. The whole thing started with him. He's the father, patriarch of the Jewish religion, which Jesus comes out of, becomes Christianity. And so, yeah, that's how it is. Heaven. Anyway, but here's the deal. Abraham was called out of his family in Genesis chapter 12, and he was promised to be a great nation. But with him, when he leaves his family, he brings somebody in his family with him. He brings his nephew, Lot. He brings his nephew Lot. So I feel like I don't know my uncles at all. So, man, that would be cool. Like, I think about that now, even like my mom's brother, just reaching out to him and talking to him. But anyway, so Abraham brings Lot. But here's the deal. They start off with this great relationship, and God starts blessing them, and their clan gets bigger and bigger. Their herds, they were shepherds, get bigger and bigger, and then there's a problem. And just like every family, it's how you deal. There's always going to be problems. How you deal with them. That's what counts. And so Abraham, I'm in Genesis 13, 8 and 9. And so here's the deal. They have this growth problem, and this is what Abraham does about it. He says, so Abraham says to Lot, his nephew Lot, let's not have any fighting or quarreling between you and me, or between your herdsmen and mine. We're close relatives, for we are close relatives. Is not the whole land before us? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left. And what Abraham is doing there is he's fixing the situation. But the funny thing is, here's one of the most holy men in the Bible, and him and his nephew fight.
Man,
they fight.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, it does. It does. And so Abraham takes off toward Canaan, and Lot goes. He picks the better of the two places, and he goes to the towns of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is kind of setting you up. But here's the deal. Even though they were the best of friends, they still fought. They still fought.
Hey,
that's the context.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If you were in Abraham's shoes,
Yeah.
what would you have done? Would you have taken sandals? Maybe barefoot.
Yeah. Possibly.
Would you have given the option, or would you have taken the better land, or would you have just initially taken the worse land? What would you have done?
Man, my family heritage, like I always talk about the bad part of my family heritage, but my family heritage though would be a sacrificial. They would give the best land, and so I would think I would rely on God to just kind of balance that all out, and I would have done what Abraham did. Hopefully.
That makes you a pretty good friend.
Yeah.
Somebody would say best friend.
Hey, best friend
challenge.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Oh man. Yeah. Man, hey, what would you have done? Go ahead and comment on that. If you would pick the best, or Abraham, he was the leader of the clan, so he had every right to choose. Which would you have done? Would you have taken the older right? What would you have done? What would you have done?
Man, my ego says I would have given the better land, but man, that would be a really, really difficult decision. I think I would have chosen the worst land. I don't think
It wasn't a bad.
Right, both were.
So
yeah. I don't think I would have given Lot the choice though. I would have said, "You go this way, I'll go this way."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Best friend challenge. Back to the deal. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Whatever.
Okay.
I'll give it to you, whichever you want.
Okay, I'll make the choice for us.
I'll go first. You go first. Okay. All right.
Ready. Let's see. So you got a couple.
I'm not looking.
Okay, here's the tough one.
Yeah.
For you. This is about you specifically, so I don't know the answer.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing you own?
My favorite thing I own. Ooh, go ahead and comment there if you know me. My favorite thing I own?
Told you it's tough.
Man, I got a lot of cool stuff. Ooh, okay. Oh, got it. You won't get this. Maybe. You might. Go ahead.
All right.
No.
I've got two options.
Okay, you got two options.
I got two options.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide that.
Most teachers use multiple choice.
Yeah.
Not most students. But it's all right.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. 1, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh man. No, when my mom passed away, dude, I was like, no one wanted this old clock that my grandfather had, and so I got it. I'm like,
that's cool.
It is really sweet. But yeah, yeah, absolutely. You weren't far off. Totally. All right, number next. Here we go. Oh, hey.
Hey, in comment too. What's your favorite?
What's your favorite?
I'd be curious to read this. Well, that's why originally I wrote, "What's the favorite thing I own?"
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure, so I put it on to you.
You're not sure.
Yeah.
I got a lot of sentimental stuff now.
Yeah.
Because I get kids, grandkids, and then my parents passed away. So yeah.
One of my favorite things is I've got a ring actually that my grandpa wore.
That's legit. Yeah.
So and he would always talk about listening to records and stuff. So I've got a record player, and I put the ring on the record player, so I think of him every time I listen. So that'd probably be one of my favorite things.
Okay, so that was a really deep question.
Yeah,
and
let's go live.
This one is not so much.
Perfect.
Okay, so you know the Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing's been going on. So just curious, who do you think? I would say this is what I would say. How I would answer this question. The greatest NBA player of all time.
Oh, that's easy.
Greatest NBA player of all time. Who do you think Pape would say? And then go ahead and comment who you think. Like, we're going to get a lot of LeBrons, a lot of Jordans, okay? But
Kobe's.
A lot of, yeah, R.I.P. Kobe. Okay. Greatest NBA player of all time. Mandy, do you have a greatest NBA? Are you an NBA?
I love NBA.
Yeah.
I would guess for you, Larry Bird.
Well, that's a good guess.
Larry Legend.
But it's wrong.
Yeah.
You
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
But boom, Bill Russell.
11
Listen,
times champ.
if you need more fingers for rings, you're good. But hey, it's so unselfish, man. He's like Abraham. He's like Abraham. He didn't. All right. Man, that was a softball, but very good question. Very good guess, because Larry Bird's probably like one of my second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's a good one.
And he had a jacked up family too, by the way. So go ahead.
This one's about me. What is one thing on my bucket list?
Ooh, one thing on your bucket list. Well, first of all, how many things are on your bucket list? Okay, one thing on your bucket list.
Hey, and if you're watching,
Go ahead,
comment what you think's on mine as well as what's on yours. Yeah.
Ooh, man. Ooh, I feel like, man. Okay.
I don't think you're gonna get it.
I'm not, but
This is probably the number one thing.
number one thing on your bucket list.
Yep. All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Boom. Oh, I had to travel
You had to travel right.
I had to travel right. By Greece.
I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
You know, my daughter got to go to.
And I'm only short for the states: Florida, Alaska, and Hawaii.
But it's different when you do it on your own. Like you almost have to reset the calendar, man. Like not like criticizing, but it'll mean more when you're.
That's true.
Like, you set the agenda.
Yeah.
You get to see what you want.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we better just do. Wait, have you done two?
Yeah, I've done 2. Let's
Do
do
I just one more?
one more each.
I'll just do one. Well, I'll just do one more.
Okay.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. Kim Pate put this one in. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. How many movies has Pate seen in the theater in the last year?
In the last year.
In the last year. How many movies have I seen in the theater of the last year? Huh? You got it. 1, 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, I'm the cheat. I'm so cheap. Okay, so the funny thing is, when was the last year I saw a movie in the theater?
Well, when was your first date with Kim?
Woo!
My dad never goes to the movie
I can't do
theater.
that, man. It's so much.
He says, man, every time I go to the movie theater, he says I just fall asleep. So why pay?
Oh man,
Why pay for a nap? He's like, do that for free at home.
Yeah.
But man, that was a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah.
Talking about best friends. But hey, let's jump back
Abraham.
into the lesson.
Yeah.
Abraham and Lot, they had a lot of disagreements. You know, they fought so much they had to move to 2 different cities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if anyone watching this is maybe they can relate to that.
Yeah.
There's too much going on in the house.
I think everybody can right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here's the really cool thing about Abraham. Pate talked about how godly, how wise and holy he was. When Abraham learned that God was going to destroy Sodom,
Right.
which was the city where Lot lived,
was. Mm-hmm.
Abraham made a choice. he pleaded with God on Lot's behalf. Look at this awesome story. This is Genesis chapter 18, verses 16 through 33. And it goes like this. It says, when the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. Then the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what was promised for him. I'm going to pause right here and show, right here, we see how pure and holy Abraham is.
Yes.
He follows the will of God. The Lord is going to bless him. And Abraham and his household, I love that it says, keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. So that's Abraham's family that split off. But then, kind of in contrast, in verse 20 it begins, it says, then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. So you've got Abraham, who is pure and holy and godly, and then you have Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot, who maybe isn't following the will of God quite so closely.
Right. Yep.
So in verse 22, it says, the men turned away and went towards Sodom, but Abraham remained standing before the Lord. I love that picture, standing before the Lord. That's so powerful. Verse 23 says, then Abraham approached him and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of all the earth do right? Then the Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham spoke up again and said, now that I have been so bold to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the number of the righteous is 5 less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of the 5 people? If I find 45 there, he said, I will not destroy it. Once again he spoke to him, what if only 40 are found there? He said, for the sake of 40, I will not do it. So right now we see Abraham kind of bartering
he's like
with God.
He's at an auction.
Yeah. He's at an auction
Yeah.
with some pretty serious stakes.
Yeah.
Verse 30, it says, then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Verse 31, Abraham said, now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there? So he started at 50, but he didn't have a lot of confidence in Sodom.
All the way down
So
to 10.
he got him all the way down to 10.
It's like a kid that goes, hey, just one more shot. You know, we're trying to close
Yeah.
the gym up.
Every
He's like,
time.
"Hey, one more.
Hey,
One more,
shot.
guy. One more. Bold.
And he answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home. So what we see, Abraham, he's bartering with God. He's trying to save the city that his nephew is in. And in response to Abraham's prayer, Lot was saved. Jump over to Genesis chapter 19. This is verses 27 through 29. It says, early in the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. Verse 29 says, so when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. So we see that because of Abraham's prayer, God saved Lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, his wife was a little salty.
You
but
can look it up.
You can look it up.
Yep.
That's high quality joke, by
Yeah.
the way.
Very good.
Some might say nah, but
Well,
I
it's
get it. I get it. It's the sodium. Anyways,
yeah. Yeah.
so sorry, I got off track. So we see here that because of Abraham's faithfulness, God saved Lot. And if you want God to use your family to do atypical things, sometimes you have to be the first person in your family to do something atypical. That's what Abraham did. When you're fighting with someone in your family, it isn't typical to do what Abraham did and to pray for them. The typical response maybe is to fight, hold a grudge, or even passive-aggressively give a silent treatment. But Abraham chose to do the atypical thing. He prayed for Lot in the middle of their conflict. He didn't wait for an apology. He reached out first through prayer. And this might seem so simple, but it's so atypical. Not so typical families pray for each other.
Yeah. So like the last time we see Abraham and Lot, they're parting ways, and the next thing is Abraham's praying. Yeah. A lot of times we want to kind of transition into a game here. A lot of times it's easy for us when there's conflict. We kind of try to block everything out and we do our own thing. We don't want to deal with it. Abraham responds with prayer. So we're going to play a game. This is the game you brought to us, and I love playing it. So we're going to play, what do we call it, Whisper Challenge? Is that what it
The
is?
still small voice.
Still small voice, because we're holy, and that's what God would call it. Yeah. Okay, and so you're going to play some music and put some headphones on.
Yep.
And I'm going to mouth to you a phrase, and I'll show it to our friends at home. Okay?
Should I
And
look
you're
at the
going to try
phrase?
to... Huh?
Should I look at the phrase?
No, you have to look right here when I hold it.
Okay.
You got to look right here. Okay?
All right.
I'm so excited. I don't know if we're... Okay.
All right.
Wait, you can't... Yeah. You got it? What song you listen to?
I'm listening to one of my favorite songs right now. It's called Testify by Jervis Campbell.
Jervis Campbell. Hey, look that up. It's on
Looks
YouTube.
like this.
Yep.
Probably can't see it.
Is it on Spotify?
It's on Spotify. Try to listen.
Okay. All right. All right. Ready? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
What?
All right. Are you going
Can I
to
hear you?
crank it up? Okay. All right. Ready? All right. All right. It's right here. Right here. That's the first phrase. All right. Okay.
Did you forget the phrase?
No, I just want to make sure okay.
You want Cane's chicken.
No. Close. Yeah. Okay. Winner.
Win.
Winner.
Win.
Winner.
Wednesday.
Winner.
Window.
Winner.
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 Chicken dinner.
Oh, but you got one. I didn't get in.
What?
Okay.
I can't hear it.
Next one. Ready?
Good.
Okay. Right here. Oh, no. I don't want to do that one yet.
You want to do that one?
No. Okay. Congratulations.
Dragons.
Congratulations.
Driving.
Congratulations. Congratulations, class of 2020. Congratulations,
Quarantine.
class.
Tom doesn't dye his hair. Comb over.
Congratulations, class of 2020. 2020.
Just say the first word.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm still getting dragons. Congratulations. That was close.
All right.
Dragons is close.
All right, wait.
Congratulations.
We got two more.
Am I yelling right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good.
okay.
It's perfect.
Two words?
Two more. There's
Two more.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You ready? Don't look.
Not
Don't
looking.
look. Okay.
Big red machine.
No. All right. Pray for one.
Hippopotamus.
Pray for one.
Pray for one.
Boom! Yeah. Woo! All right, last one. This one's the hard one. This is the stretch. All right. We got to say the best for last. And you kind of okay. All right. Ready? The hick from French lick. The hick from French lick. The
The
hick
King is here.
Hick.
The king is coming.
The hick
The?
from Fringe Lick.
Ooh, I'm not getting this one at all.
No. The hick. Okay, I'll give you a clue.
Drink the same water as Larry Bird.
The hick from Fringe Lick. All right, that was like the dumbest thing. Okay, but hey, you got a ton of them.
I'm surprised.
You did good. Man, you're really good. All right, hey, and, here's the thing. So, kind of bringing it back, the point is Abraham prays for Lot. Now, I want to give you some advice about praying for your family. There's a couple things that you can do when you pray for your family. Number one, know that God didn't maybe necessarily fix the situation, but He did fix the family. That's what I really want to focus on. And atypical families invite God into those situations that they're going through prayer. Now, how can you pray for your family? There's 3 ways that I want to tell you. First of all, thank God for your family. Even if you're not sure at the moment that you can deal with the family, just pray for God. Be grateful that you were born. Like I always think about that. My father didn't give me much, but He did give me life. Yeah. And so be thankful.
I remember when I was like 17.
Yeah.
I was in the car with my dad on the way to the golf course. And it was quiet. My dad doesn't usually talk much in the car. Mm-hmm. And I just looked over at him and I said, "Have I ever thanked you for having me?" He looked out the window. I don't think so. I said, "Well, thanks." And now that I think about it, I don't think I ever thanked my mom. So, Mom, thank you for having me. I know you're watching this probably a couple times. Yeah. So
hey, be thankful. Be thankful. Start everything with things. Number next is ask God. And here's the thing. I want to tell you, a lot of times we ask, like when I ask for prayer requests, you ask for prayer requests from students, it's always something physical or a need, like a get better. And I pray those prayers for my family, and I pray for stuff, but move past the stuff and move to the fruit of the Spirit. Mm-hmm. Every situation needs the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And so ask God, not just for the stuff, the physical things that you need in the situation, but ask Him to have the fruit of the Spirit, have wisdom, and ask God to do that for the people in your family as well. So thank God, ask. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's easier to ask for the physical because you can see it.
Yeah.
You can't really see what's going on in the heart.
No.
But that's what Abraham.
But that's where all the change starts.
Yeah, the change starts with the heart.
So pray for those things. Ask for those things. And then number last is always remember to thank God for helping or blessing your family. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we forget that. Like we come to God every day with 5 or 10 things that are on our heart, or 2 or 3 things that are on our heart. And we never forget, or we never remember to thank Him for what He did yesterday. And God, I see, awesome things that have happened in my family. I need to continue to thank God for those things. So, hey, I want you to think about that. Thank God, ask, and then thank God. And here's the deal. When we pray, God doesn't always change the situation. Like, He still lit up Sodom and Gomorrah, literally. Literally. And God doesn't always change those circumstances, but He does change hearts. He does change attitude. Mm-hmm. Think about how God could change your heart or change the heart of somebody that you're fighting with. And really, the other thing is, a lot of times we have these patterns of behavior that are passed on. And you shared with me about your family. My family, we've got some unhealthy patterns that we passed on. Pray that God would change those patterns. It could be, a substance abuse. It could be a situation where families get divorced. But pray that God would change those patterns. He's not always going to change everything to your way. But you need to pray so that God can change your heart to His way. And that's very atypical. That's very atypical. God always doesn't change the situation, but He's always willing to change you. And so, man, I think that's huge. A great story from Lot and Abraham. So, hey, you wind us down today, man. Give us a good challenge.
Man, we just learned how atypical families pray.
Yeah.
And Abraham, he went first and prayed for Lot. So this week, what if you went first? What if you just went first? What if you decided to pray for someone in your family? When disagreements happen, typical families scream, they fight, they hold grudges, but it's hard to find that common ground. But atypical families pray for each other. And if you commit to praying for your family more than you fight with them, and you're able to have unity in it, God is going to do some amazing atypical things through you and your family. Don't wait for someone else to make the first move. Don't wait for someone else to be the bigger man or the bigger woman. Go first in love and in prayer. And let me just ask a question. Who do you need to pray for this week? Who's your one? Your pray for one.
Who's your prayer? Yeah.
It's my hope that you do it.
Yeah. Take time and pray. Hey, go ahead and comment. Text your small group leader, text your Sunday school leader. Who is the one person in your family that you need to pray for this week? I love what you said there. And I don't know, we practice this. I don't know that you said that. You said pray more than you fight.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. Man, that's huge. That's huge. I'm serious. That's huge. Very good stuff. Pray for one. Go ahead and comment in there. Hey, if you feel comfortable, if you're watching this later, go ahead and shoot us a text, man. Ain't no worry in that. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's really good.
We've got a couple
quick announcements. Yeah, go ahead.
First one.
Obviously you're watching this at 2 o'clock on Monday. Go ahead and share this with a friend. It's the easiest way to invite a friend to Sunday school right now.
Absolutely.
Is just share the link. And also 9:45, 11 o'clock on our YouTube channel, Facebook for the church is our church service.
Yep.
And hey, they made a big announcement though. We can probably tip our hand on that because it's out now. June 7th, we're going to start back.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So make sure you get all the details there.
Next one. Hey, we've got our high voltage scavenger hunt. Okay, this isn't including the bump up for the upcoming fifth grade. So this is the first event for all of you. Mm-hmm. So, man, I've already sent out all the high voltage scavenger hunt stuff. Okay. So you guys should have it in your email. What you can do with it is do the scavenger hunt on your own time. I mean, it's going to take you all around Orville, take you different places. Do it with your family. It's going to be a lot of fun. But from 5 to 6 on Sunday, May 31st, me, you,
I'll be there.
and Christopher Harley are all going to be at the church just to do like a little meet and greet. We're going to have some summer information for you. We might even have some sweet treats for you. So be sure to do it on your own time, but also to drive by on Sunday, May 31st from 5 to 6. See some friendly
awesome
masks on that day.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I already got one upcoming fifth grader. Their mom reached out to me and was like, I got this, man. It's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I think it's going to be great.
Number next, what we got there? Oh, man, hey, watch our social media Thursday or Wednesday, Friday. We got 60-second shots of encouragement.
This has been awesome.
Beth and Amanda nailed it this week. That was great. And we always have a poll. We've got a poll coming from this lesson about your family.
Tomorrow on Tuesday.
So, Yep. So check out our social media. Stay connected. Number next.
Hey, we've got Mission Orville. Man, I am getting really excited for this as it's matriculating down the field. Some OCC language. But, man, I've got some of the speakers already lined up for this week. It's going to be really great. So this is July 20th through 22nd. It's a free event now. So it's going to be pretty pro-family. We're going to do some service projects. We'll have some worship. We're going to have some lessons. Hopefully have some devos for you to take home even. So this is going to be a lot of fun as we turn our eyes kind of towards our own community.
Something we've been wanting to do for a while.
It's going to be great.
Great, awesome. And number last, CIY. If you haven't heard, we're still doing CIY. We're not able to go to CIY, but they're giving us the material. It's June 22nd through the 24th, $50. But if you've paid your deposit, you're good to go.
Right.
And if they'll never let money be a problem. So, and we have a deadline coming on that in a couple weeks. We've got a big meeting this week to kind of see what we can do with that, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to make the best of it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, hey, we got to wind her down. Hey, Monday school, I hope you had a great time. Hope you pray for one person in your family. Corey, you got anything else to add, man?
No, just boldly be atypical, man. Just like Abraham, and see how God can use your atypical family to do atypical things in the world.
So, hey, just remember, wash your hands and let God wash your heart.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with the atypical thing, but have a great day.
See you guys.